Hello everybody and welcome to Audubon at Home. This week Audubon at Home is celebrating Earth Day's 50th anniversary. Happy Earth Day everybody! In honor of that, we want to read a classic children's story for you. We're going to read The Lorax by Dr. Seuss. Let's get started. The Lorax by Dr. Seuss. At the far end of town where the grickle grass grows and no birds ever sing excepting old crows, caw, caw, is the street of the lifted Lorax. And deep in the grickle grass, some people say, if you look deep enough, you can still see today where the Lorax once stood just as long as it could until somebody lifted the Lorax away. What was the Lorax and why was it there? And why was it lifted and taken somewhere from the far end of town where the grickle grass grows? The old Onceler still lives there. Ask him. He knows. You won't see the Onceler. Don't knock on his door. He stays in his lurkum on top of his store. He lurks in his lurkum cold under the roof, where he makes his own clothes out of muffled moof. And on special dank midnights in April, he peeks out of the shutters, and sometimes he speaks and tells how the Lorax was lifted away. He'll tell you, perhaps, if you're willing to pay. On the end of a rope, he lets down a small pail, and you have to toss in 15 cents and a nail and the shell of a great-great-great-great-grandfather snail. At the end of a rope, he lets down a small pail, and you have to toss in 15 cents and a nail and the shell of a great-great-great-great-grandmother snail. Then he pulls up the pail and makes a most careful count to see that you've paid him the proper amount. Then he hides what you paid him away in his snub, his secret strange hole in his grovulous glove. Then he grunts, I will call you by whisper-my-phone, for the secrets I tell are for your ears alone. Schlup! Down schlups the whisper-my-phone to your ear, and the old Onceler's whispers are not very clear, 'cause they have to come down through a snurgly hose, and it sounds as if he's got smallish bees up his nose. Now I'll tell you, he says with his teeth sounding gray, how the Lorax got lifted and taken away. It all started back, such a long, long time back, way back in the days when the grass was still green, and the pond was still wet, and the clouds were still clean, and the song of the Swami Swan sang out in space, Swami Swan, Swami Swan. One morning I came to this glorious place, and I first saw those trees, those truffula trees, the bright-colored tufts of the truffula trees, mile after mile in the fresh morning breeze. And under the trees, I saw brown barbaloots frisking about in their barbaloot suits as they happily played and ate truffula roots, barbaloot, barbaloot. From the ripulous pond came the comfortable sound of humming fish humming while splashing around. But those trees, those truffula trees, all of my life I'd been searching for trees such as these. The touch of their tufts was much softer than silk, and they had the sweet smell of fresh butterfly milk. I felt a great leaping of joy in my heart. I knew just what I'd do. I unloaded my cart. And in no time at all, I had built a small shop. Then I chopped down a truffula tree with one chop. And with great skillful skill and great speedy speed, I took the soft tuft and I knitted a thneed. The instant I finished, I heard a gazump. I looked. I saw something pop out of the stump of the tree I chopped down. It was sort of a man. Describe him? That's hard. I don't know if I can. He was shortish and oldish and brownish and mossy, and he spoke with a voice that was sharpish and bossy. "Mister," he cried with a sawdusty sneeze, "Shimmy! I am the Lorax. I speak for the trees. I speak for the trees because the trees have no tongues. And I'm asking you, sir, at the top of my lungs." He was very upset as he shouted and puffed, "What's that thing you made out of my truffula tuft?" Okay. "Look, Lorax," I said, "there's no cause for alarm. I chopped down one tree. I'm doing no harm. I'm being quite useful. This thing is a thneed. A thneed is a fine something that all people need. It's a shirt, it's a sock, it's a glove, it's a hat, but it has other uses, yes, far beyond that. You can use it for carpet, for pillows, for sheets, or even soft covers for bicycle seats." The Lorax said, "Sir, you are crazy with greed. There's no one on earth who will buy that fool thneed." But the very next moment, I proved he was wrong. For the very next moment, a chap came along, and he thought the thneed I needed was great. He happily paid me $3.98. I laughed at the Lorax. "Ha! You poor silly guy. You never can tell what some people will buy." "I repeat," cried the Lorax, "I speak for the trees." "I'm busy," I told him. "Shut up, if you please." I rushed across the room and in no time at all built a radio phone. I put in a quick call. I called on my brothers and uncles and aunts, and I said, "Listen here, here's a wonderful chance for the whole Once-Their family to get mighty rich. Get over here fast. Take the road to North Nitch. Turn left at Weehawken, sharp right at South Stitch." And in no time at all in the factory I built, the whole Once-Their family was working full tilt. We were all knitting thneeds, just as busy as bees, to the sound of the chopping of truffula trees. Then, oh baby, oh how my business did grow. Soon chopping one tree at a time was much, much too slow. So I quickly invented a super axe hacker, and I chopped off 4 trees with just one smacker. Now we were making thneeds 4 times as fast as before, and that Lorax, well, he didn't show up anymore. But the very next week, he knocked at my new office door. He snapped, "I am the Lorax who speaks for the trees, which you seem to be chopping as fast as you please. But I'm also in charge of the brown barbaloots who played in the shade in their barbaloot suits and happily lived eating truffula fruits. Now, thanks to your hacking my trees to the ground, there's not enough truffula fruits to go around, and my poor barbaloots, they're all getting the crummies because they've got gas and not food in their tummies." They loved living here, but I can't let them stay. They'll have to find food, and I hope that they may. "Good luck, barbaloots," he cried, and he sent them away. I, the Once-There, felt sad as I watched them all go. But business is business, and business must grow, regardless of crummies in tummies, you know. I meant no harm. I most truly did not. But I had to get bigger, so bigger I got. I biggered my factory, I biggered my roads, I biggered my wagons, and I biggered the loads of the thneeds I sent out. I was sending them forth to the south, to the east, to the west, to the north. I went right on biggering, selling more thneeds, and I biggered my money, which everyone needs. Then again he came back. I was fixing some pipes when that old nuisance Lorax came back with more gripes. "I am the Lorax." He coughed and he whiffed. He sneezed and he snuffled, he snargled, he sniffed. "Onceler," he cried with a crufulous croak, "Onceler, you're making such smogulous smoke. My poor Swami Swans, why, they can't sing a note. No one can sing who has smog in his throat." "And so," said the Lorax, "please pardon my cough. They cannot live here, so I'm sending them off. Where will they go? I don't hopefully know. They may have to fly south for a month or a year to get away from the smog you've smogged up around here." "And what's more," cried the Lorax, his dander was up, "let me say a few words about gluppity-glup. Your machinery chugs on day and night without stop, making gluppity-glup, also sloppity-slop. And what do you do with this leftover goo? Well, I'll tell you, you dirty onceler man, you. You're glumping the pond where the humming fish hummed. No more can they hum, for their gills are all gummed. So I'm sending them off. Oh, their future is dreary. They'll walk on their fins and get woefully weary in search of some water that isn't so schmeary." Well, then I got mad. I got terribly mad. And I said to the Lorax, "Now listen here, Dad. All you do is yap, yap, and say bad, bad, bad. Well, I have my rights, sir, and I'm telling you, I intend to keep doing just what it is that I do. And for your information, you Lorax, you, I'm figuring on biggerin' and biggerin' and biggering, making more truffula trees into thneeds, which everyone needs." And at that very moment, we heard a loud whack. From outside in the fields came the sickening smack of an axe on a tree. Then we heard the tree fall, the very last truffula tree of them all. No more trees, no more thneeds, no more work to be done. So in no time at all, my uncles and aunts, every one, all waved goodbye. They jumped into my cars and they drove off under smoke-smuggered stars. Now all that was left 'neath the bad-smelling sky was my big empty factory, the Lorax and I. The Lorax said nothing, just gave me a glance, a very, very sad backward glance. I'll never forget the grim look on his face as he hoisted himself and took leave of this place through a hole in the smog without leaving a trace. And all that the Lorax left here in this mess was a small pile of rocks with one word, unless. Whatever that meant, well, I just couldn't guess. That was long, long ago. But each day since that day, I've sat here and worried away. Through the years while my buildings have fallen apart, I've worried about it with all of my heart. But now, says the Onceler, now that you're here, the word of the Lorax seems perfectly clear. Unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, things won't get better. They simply will not. So, catch, calls the Onceler. He lets something fall. It's a truffula seed. It's the last one of all. You're in charge of the last of the truffula seeds. And truffula trees are what everyone needs. Plant a new truffula and treat it with care. Give it clean water and give it fresh air. Grow a forest. Protect it from axes that hack. And maybe, just maybe, someday, the Lorax and all of his friends might come back. Thank you for joining us at Audubon at Home. Happy Earth Day!